SkywayTj, everyone, and we are doing another video today. Today I'm ranking all of the Studio Ghibli films. Studio Ghibli's been around since like the 80s, and they have been consistently putting movies out up until last year with The Boy and the Heron. I've watched all 25 movies, and I gotta say, this company rarely misses. I would recommend almost all of these movies. They're fantastic in their own separate ways. But without further ado, we're going to be ranking them from 25 to 1. So, strap in. And yes, I don't have my mic today. It died. I forgot to charge it. So, I'm very prepared. Let's hop into these. 25 at the very bottom is the one I don't recommend at all. This does not represent the Ghibli I know. It doesn't have the same animation. It just doesn't look good. It's Earwig and the Witch. It came out in 2020. This one is not good. The concept is fine. You have a young girl who gets adopted by a witch. She wants to learn magic, and she's spunky and all that crap. But they set up a plot point of her being dropped off in an orphanage by her mom, who's a witch. And then at the very end, her mom shows up, but then the movie just ends. Like, it doesn't. There's no conclusion to that arc. There's nothing. There's just no ending to this movie. And this is the only Ghibli movie that I just recommend people skip. It's not good, which is sad, because this company's pretty much flawless, but there has to be a bad one. So at the very end, we have Earwig and the Witch. Following that, we have My Neighbors, the Yamadas. This movie is just like a slice of life movie about this middle-class Japanese family called the Yamadas. This one has a different type of animation than usual for this company. It's fine. It's just not my cup of tea. I watched it a long time ago, like last year, and I don't remember that much from it. So to me, it's kind of forgettable, but I'm sure somebody out there will like it. But for me, it's a 24. Ocean Waves almost doesn't feel like it belongs in the Ghibli catalog. It's still fine. It's the only Ghibli movie that hasn't been dubbed yet, and I don't think they're ever going to, because it's kind of not worth it. It's a story about some teenagers or who are adults now, and they have little flashbacks to when they remember shit. It's been a minute since I've seen this one, and again, it falls in that forgettable category. It's still good. Like anything Ghibli is probably worth your time, but to me, it's just, it's whatever. So that's why it's this far down, Next up, we have Tales from Earthsea. This is directed by Goro Miyazaki, who is Hayao Miyazaki's son, and Goro often gets the shit end of the stick because he's known for directing some of the worst things in Ghibli's catalog, including this and Earwig and the Witch. This movie gets shit on a lot. I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be, but it's still not great. It's based on a book, and oftentimes when the criticisms are brought up, it gets defended by being like, well, that's what the book is like. But if people who are fans of the book said it's nothing like this, so I don't know. It's a fantasy movie. There's dragons. There's warriors and shit. But to me, it's fine. I wouldn't watch it again, but I'm sure somebody would like it. At 21, I have The Cat Returns. This is kind of a spin-off movie to Whisper of the Heart, because there's a character type in Whisper of the Heart called the Baron, who's a cat, and this movie's all about him. He whisks this girl into his cat world where she turns into like this cat thing. It's just this little fun little adventure. It's not that serious, and it's just a fun time. I like it for what it is. It just doesn't feel like it's that important or groundbreaking, but it's still a fun watch. So that's why it's at this place in the list. Next up, I have Pompoko. This movie is about a bunch of raccoons, or they might be tanukis, I'm not 100%, who are living in their little forest, and their environment's getting ripped down for humans who are building settlements and everything. It's a movie about industrialization and how humanity is low-key, thinks they're better than everything, and taking away from nature and all that. That's regardless. This movie will be remembered for the fact that these raccoons can transform and shapeshift and everything. And I'm not kidding you when I say this. They use their balls and testicles to make parachutes and make construction equipment and everything. It is baffling. If you can get past all that, it's hard, I understand. It's hard to get past all the raccoon nuts. But it's a decent movie. It has a good message and everything. It's just it'll always be remembered for the movie that has like just so much raccoon testicle. Like it's crazy. But Japan is weird. So I next up I have Only Yesterday. This is a movie about a girl who travels to her old home and she keeps getting flashbacks to the time when she was a kid and how it's impacting her life now. And it's a fine little slice of life movie. The ending will hit you like a truck. It's very emotional. Some of the middle parts are kind of like hard to get through. Like not that it's boring. It's just like some of it, the middle just drags a little bit. But this movie, the ending really wraps it all up. And I think it's a good time. So yeah, that's Only Yesterday. Next up we have From Up on Poppy Hill. This is also directed by Goro Hayao's son. And this one, I think Goro actually did a fine job. This movie is about two kids who go through this. They start having feelings for each other, but then they low-key find out they're siblings. Wait. But then throughout the movie, they actually realize that they're not actually siblings, and there was a whole mix-up about their parents when they were out on sea and during war or something. It's a fine movie. It's a fun, lighthearted movie. The incest jump scare in the middle scared the fuck out of me when I was watching this. I was like, oh god, please let this go in some other direction, and thank God it did. But yeah, it's not great. It's good. I would recommend it. It's a nice, easy watch. It's just, be prepared for that little jump scare in the middle, Next up, I have The Red Turtle, which is an interesting movie in the Ghibli catalog. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. I think it's Ghibli. I don't know. Anywho, The Red Turtle is a co-production between Studio Ghibli and like a bunch of French animators, I believe. There's no dialogue in this movie at all. It tells the story of a man who gets stranded on an island, and a red turtle comes up to him and tries to prevent him from leaving. Eventually he kills this turtle, and a whole lot of shenanigans happens. It's impressive that the movie's able to tell you all these things without any dialogue. It's a very good visual medium. I liked it. I was very confused at different parts, but I did enjoy what I was watching. So yeah, I just watched this last night, so it's fresh in my head. It's a lot. I had a lot of questions at the end, but I think you're supposed to. It might be deal with like existentialism and what our place is in the world and all that. Watch it. I don't know. Next up, we have The Castle in the Sky. This is directed by Hayao Miyazaki, who is also known as the GOAT of Studio Ghibli. He makes fantastic movies in the catalog. It's hard to even wrap your head around how good of an animator and director he is, but whatever. Regardless, this movie is about two kids who are trying to find a secret city, and it's a castle in the sky. Hence the title. They're going up against these like air pirates and shit. It's fantastic. Great animation, beautiful characters. Everything's fantastic. It's just the Miyazaki staple. It's pretty good. He has a lot of bangers, so one of them had to fall further down on the list, and this is like his first or second one that he directed in his time at Ghibli. So, it's still great. You should watch it. At number 15, we have The Secret World of Arrietty. This is a movie about these creatures called borrowers, which are little people, like 2-inch tall people, who they go around your house and they take little things and they just live on their own. Our main girl Arrietty discovers she has an encounter with one of the human boys who's sick, who lives in this house, and they have a little adventure. They get to know each other, and they have to help each other by the end. It's a cute little story, nothing too serious, and it's just easy to watch. And of course, the animation is on top because that's just the Ghibli special. They are amazing in all things. Next up, I have Whisper of the Heart. This is a story about two kids who, the girl keeps checking out books, and she notices that they're all previously been checked out by the same dude. She meets this guy. They start to fall in love or whatever for being kids, so take that what you will. And then they vow to help each other out and help each other improve and everything, and by the end they're like, we should get married in the future. It's just a cute little story. It also deals with the cat from The Cat Returns, who's like this whole subplot. It's just not getting into. I'm not gonna get into it. You should watch the movie. It's a great, beautiful little thing. So good. Next up, we have Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. This is a movie about a girl who is trying to protect her Valley of the Wind from all kinds of like beetle creatures and shit. It's it's pretty much, we're going to talk about Princess Mononoke later in this video, but this is pretty much the precursor to that. It deals with a lot of nature elements, which I really like. Miyazaki, this is directed by him. He has a lot of messages in his movies, which are usually like, nature is awesome. He loves flying and flying creatures. He loves little creatures, and he hates war. So you get a lot of that in this movie, and it's beautifully animated, as they mostly are. So yeah, Nausicaa the Valley Wind. It's a weird one. It's like the first one in the Ghibli catalog, and it was made in like '84. So some of it might look a little dated, but I still think it's pretty good. At number 12, I have The Tale of Princess Kaguya, or Kaguya. I don't remember how to pronounce it. I'm so sorry. I just watched this one the other day. It's beautifully animated with this watercolor animation, which it's very beautiful. It looks great. It's just sometimes it was a little bit distracting to me, like some of the background characters and how things were drawn. But that's probably just a me problem. The story is still beautiful. It tells a story of how this bamboo farmer finds a little girl in a bamboo stocking, like she's like this big, and she grows up, she affects everyone around her, and eventually, you know, something happens. I won't spoil it, but yeah, it's fantastic. It's beautifully animated. It's just, we're getting to the point where it's harder and harder to rank the Ghiblis here, because they're all so good for pretty much from this point onward. But yeah, this is why it's here. It could be higher, and I would totally understand that. At 11, I have When Marnie Was There. This tells the story of a girl who she has asthma, so her doctor recommends she goes away to get some fresh air to the countryside for the summer. Throughout this time, this girl has like self-loathing issues. She has no self-confidence. So during this time, she meets this girl named Marnie, and the two end up like, you know, helping each other out. And throughout the movie, you get this like mystery of who Marnie is and what's going on. By the end, it all comes together. And I think that was a very emotional thing. I will say, what you're expecting in the movie is not what's going to happen, because I'm not going to lie, some of the scenes were building these two up as if they were lovers, and I'm going to let you know right now that by the end, they are not. So I still think it's beautiful. I really liked it. I was just thrown through a loop during that one part. I was like, oh, okay. Still very good. All right, we're entering the top 10, and from here on out, these are all certified bangers. I think these are amazing movies. They're all 4.5 up, I think, out of 5. They are so good. Starting at number 10, we have Porco Rosso. This tells a story about a pig man named Porco Rosso who hates fascism, and he hates pirates, and he's just trying to live his life the way he wants to, and it's just incredible. This really ties into how Miyazaki, directed by him, loves flying, and you can really see that because the scenes where Porco Rosso is flying over the sea and everything, it's just beautifully animated. It's a fun story. I love it, and Michael Keaton voices him in the dub, so that also added a little level of spiciness that I really like. I love Porco Rosso. At number 9, we have Kiki's Delivery Service. This tells the story of a young witch who she has to go spend a year on her own as part of her witch's journey or whatever. She enters this town, and she starts a delivery service, delivering packages for the people she's staying with. There's not a lot of stakes in this movie. It's just a nice little comfort movie about self-discovery, coming of age, and she has a talking cat named Gigi. It's amazing. Kiki's Delivery Service, I just like that there's like, it's a very low stakes movie. It's just comfortable. Like, you just feel good watching it. So while it might not have the heaviest of plots, I really enjoy Kiki's Delivery Service, and it's probably mostly because Hayao Miyazaki directed it, and he is the fucking GOAT. So there you go. Number 8, I have The Wind Rises. Once again, directed by the GOAT, Hayao Miyazaki. He originally said this was going to be his last movie, so he directed a movie about his love of flying an aircraft. Studio Ghibli gets its name from a certain level of, it's a certain plane that I can't remember the name of, and it comes from an Italian word for that aircraft or something. Regardless, this movie tells a real life story of an engineer whose legacy includes building one of the aircraft for the World War II Japanese fleet. Regardless of that, this story tells the story of this man who is really obsessed with flying, creating airplanes, and his creations get turned against him low-key. Does he regret it at the end? Maybe. He falls in love. this whole plot line with his wife is heartbreaking. It's a beautiful movie. It's not the most fantastical elements as you're expected from Ghibli, but it's still an amazing time to watch and very heartbreaking, and I just really liked it. At number 7, we have My Neighbor Totoro. I'd argue that almost everybody knows who Totoro is. This tells the story of 2 young girls who are living with their dad, and they find this magical big boy creature named Totoro who's an absolute unit. He does lots of nappies, and he cares for the girls, and it's just this little... what else can you say about Totoro? He is an icon. He is the mascot of Studio Ghibli. Totoro is that guy. This movie is fantastic. It's cute. It's adorable. And again, it'll make you cry at certain points. And that's what I love about Ghibli in general. They make you cry. They make you feel in awe. It's just Totoro. At number 6, I have The Boy and the Heron. This just came out last year and is supposed to be Hayao Miyazaki's last film. He says that every time he directs a movie, so we'll see if it's true this time. He is getting up there in age, so it might actually be time for this to be his last one. But this movie tells the story of a boy who his father has remarried, so they move to this new countryside, and he's not too happy about his father remarrying, and this heron keeps bugging him, and it ends up taking him into this fantastical world where he has to learn lessons about acceptance, life, again, all that jazz. There's little fantastical creatures. It's very trippy, and it's an amazing movie. It won an Academy Award last year, and it rightfully deserved that. Yeah, it's amazing. And if you ever want to feel creeped out, Robert Pattinson does the voice of the heron in the dub, and he sounds fucking haunting. So, yeah. At number 5, I have Grave of the Fireflies. This movie hurts. So this is an anti-war film. It tells the story of 2 kids who are abandoned as a war is raging on. I can't remember if it's World War I or II. I don't remember what war it is. I apologize, but there are kids during wartime. It's an older brother and a little sister, and they're trying to just survive. And spoiler alert, this movie is a long, sad movie about kids pretty much starving to death. It's haunting. It left this impact on me that I can't. It's so good. Like, the story isn't that complex, but it's sad. Like, it really, it's hard to watch sometimes. Yeah. Grave of the Fireflies will hurt you if you watch it. I'm just gonna warn you that right now. At number 4, I have Ponyo. This movie, I didn't even know what Studio Ghibli was growing up, but I remember this movie had trailers, and I think my sisters had it on DVD. So, regardless, Ponyo, once again directed by our GOAT, Hayao Miyazaki, tells the story of a little fish named Ponyo who discovers a boy, I believe his name is Sasuke, and Sasuke loves this little fish. Ponyo loves Sasuke, as a brother-sister type thing, I'm sure. And then, Ponyo decides she doesn't want to be a fish anymore, and she transforms into a human to go see Sasuke. And there's this whole story about them having to come together in this lovely... It's beautiful, animated. It has that banger song at the end. Ponyo, Ponyo, little fishy... Oh, it's so good. It's an amazing film. It's top tier. Mwah. At number 3, I have Howl's Moving Castle. This one, man. So the story of Howl and his moving castle. He's magic, and he finds this girl who joins him on his castle, and they have to go through this little discovery, and there's just so many characters in here. Calcifer, iconic. It's so good. It's so good. I'm sure a lot of people love Howl's Moving Castle, and I'm no objection to the rule. It's amazing. Alright, it's really hard to decide between 1 and 2, but I think I'm okay with mine. Number 2, I have Princess Mononoke. This movie, man. I just recently rewatched this in theaters because it was happening because of Ghibli Fest. It's fucking amazing. It's a bit too long. I'll give you that. It's a little too long. But it tells a story about this boy who's cursed and has to leave his village. And he goes on this journey of self-discovery, and he meets all these gods and shit in nature, and he meets San, who is the Princess Mononoke moniker, and it's about these themes about how the industrialization in Irontown is fucking up the nature in the nature. And there's all these human assholes who are trying to kill the great spirits and shit, and it's just so good. Like, Hayao Miyazaki, man, he just knows how to tell a story, and you can tell this man loves nature, and this one is so much how all those things come together, and how much he loves nature, and how industrialization ruins everything. And it's just one of those movies you need to watch. It's so good. It's amazing. Oh, but I think to everyone's little surprise, number one is Spirited Away for me. I cannot believe it took me until last year to finally sit down and watch Spirited Away. I've heard nothing but good things about this movie, and I watched it and I was fully expected to be let down because I thought it was overhyped. This movie delivers on every aspect that people have claimed it did. The little creatures are so great. No Face, so good. The creature design in this movie is amazing. It follows this little girl whose parents get turned into pigs because they eat some food they're not supposed to, so she has to pretty much work off a debt at this creepy big-nosed witch's place. There's a dragon. There's just so much happening here. The music is fantastic. The animation is pretty much top tier. And yeah, of course it's directed by Hayao Miyazaki, the absolute GOAT of animation. There's just no competing with him. I'm sorry. He is that man. He is that guy. Spirited Away is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 10 of all time. I cannot express how much I love Spirited Away. So that's why it's number one, and I'm sure that's not shocking to a lot of people. I'm sorry it took me this long to watch it, truly. Well, guys, that is all of Studio Ghibli ranked. This company, there's so much you could say about this company, but nothing I can really add to it. They are amazing engineers in the animation space. I think they make some of the best movies I've ever seen, and I'm sad that Miyazaki is probably done making movies because I think he's one of the greatest directors ever. So I'm hoping this company goes forward and can find animators of that quality. And yeah, I love Studio Ghibli. I'm happy I ranked all their movies. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you are feeling somewhat inspired to go watch some of these movies. I cannot recommend them enough. They are so good. Most of them, anyway. Without further ado, that'll be the end of the video. I'll see you guys in the next one, where we will be doing, I think next week's video will be in August, right? So it should be the July wrap-up, I think. I'll see you in that one. Take care out there, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye.